After all the negativity and uncertainty surrounding Sheffield Wednesday, it's nice to see us finally doing some transfer business. We've done quite a lot in the last week. I've been talking about it on the Talking Wednesday podcast. However, we have just signed another centre-back to add to the centre-back that we had already signed this week. So I feel like I should talk about both of them. I'll talk about Dijon Bernard a little bit towards the end of this video, a little bit less. But we have just signed Diaby on a permanent deal from Preston. So let's read from the club statement. Bambo Diaby joins Wednesday. Wednesday have completed the signing of Bambo Diaby, who moves to S6 on a permanent transfer from Preston North End for an undisclosed fee. Towering defender, bolsters Chisco's rearguard ranks ahead of the Owls Championship curtain raiser against Southampton on Friday night. Diaby, 25, cut his teeth as a youngster playing regional football in Catalonia, Spain, having moved from his birthplace of Senegal. He made his senior debut as a teenager for UE Cornella in Segunda Liga against CF Ruas do Pitiu in 2016. The centre-half switched to Italy later in the same year, signing for Serie A side Sampdoria before a loan spell at the third tier Mantenova FC. In 2017, he moved back to Spain with Girona FC and then to Belgium at Lokeren. Diaby arrived on these shores in 2019, first signing for Barnsley and then the Lily Whites. Chisco told SWFC.co.uk, Bambo is a big, strong centre-back. He is very quick with the positions in defence. He has a very good mentality. He will always make sacrifices for the good of the group and he will bring a lot of balance into the squad. Now, I will say, fun fact, because when I was doing some research on this guy earlier in the day and in the week, because we heard he was linked for a little while and I felt like it was coming today, so all the research went into it. He was banned for a while, so there was a couple of seasons there. I don't really want to talk about this because it's all in the past and I am a big believer of moving on with things like that, and in sporting bans we see him all over the place for various reasons, betting, whatever. His contract was terminated at Barnsley back in the day because he was found having hygienamine in his system. Basically he was banned for 2 years by the FA, which is why he's got that gap. If you have been looking at his stats and you go, what's really been going on in that time between Barnsley and Preston, that's what happened, okay? But it's something that's in the past, but it's worth mentioning when we look at his overall stats that there is numbers there that he would have probably made up if it wasn't for that, because he was really coming into his own when that happened. He's a 6'2" centre back. He's 25 years old and he was going into his last year of his contract, with Preston. So it makes sense that this would be the time that you would be signing someone on a permanent deal, and that's what we've done here. So the reason I mentioned a bit earlier about the ban is because in his entire career he's made 122 career appearances, and as a 25-year-old centre-back, you probably expect that to be a little bit more, but we know why. 45 of those have been in the Championship, so he's got Championship experience, obviously coming from a Championship club as recently as last season as well. He only made 9 starts for Preston last season, so it does make sense on all fronts here. He made 17 total appearances for them, but only 9 starts, so I feel like he's going to be coming into Wednesday trying to nail down that shirt basically as a starting centre-back, and our centre-back options are looking better now. We're looking for these players that have got that physicality, they're not shy to a little bit of pace, and they need to be good on the ball. So reading reports, this guy's kind of good on the ball. Again, we're looking for that ball player, so maybe he is that. One thing that's been noted about him is having strong interceptions, which is kind of what you need for a centre-back as well, obviously. Preston's clean sheet percentage was about 31% with him in the side last season, so if you're a stats person, there you go, that's your stat. A stat to add to that is his goals conceded per 90 minutes, though. So we know Jordan's story. He's been at Wednesday before. His was 1.21 per game in his percentage. With Diaby, it was 1.33. So they're kind of close on that front, and a lot of people are saying they'd want Story back. So stats-wise, that probably adds up. I think this is positive. We can start to probably panic a little bit less. It's still going to be quite a tough season, but we are making the signings here. Centre-back was a position we needed to massively improve, in my opinion, in terms of the longevity of it. And we've signed a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old in those positions in the past week. Now, the one thing I'd be slightly concerned about at the time of recording this video, we don't know his contract length, which is when I will mention Dijon Bernard, who He's 22 and we've signed him on a 1-year deal. You've got to think about there's got to be options in there. But he is a really promising centre-back, 22 years old, been released by Manchester United's academy. You know, he's had loans in League One before. He's had league experience. and he's one of those players that you think might just start to come into his own, and we've given him a year's deal. It seems a little bit weird on our end, and I don't really like it. It made me feel a little bit uncomfortable in terms of, security in terms of the club and the player there, but hopefully we've got an option that is on our end there. It's not a player option or a clause option. It's literally a case of we can press a button and all of a sudden we've triggered his contract extension clause. I hope it's one of those, and I hope it's a 2-year one. It's probably 1 year knowing how we do it. Speaking of Deschamps Bernard, though, he's had over 60 appearances in English football with teams such as Salford, Hull and Portsmouth as recently as last season. So in terms of those two centre-backs, I'm quite excited with that. Our defence is looking all right now. It's getting to a point where I'm feeling more comfortable with it, because if you think about the centre-back options, one thing that we've always lacked in the past is pace. Pace has been one of the things that we have, we got to the Championship and you don't really need pace now, but I think in the modern game and playing out from the back and players that are technical, there's too much running that happens in that league to not have centre-backs that are a little bit pacey, and I think we have really, really capitalised in that area now. Just tonight, I've got a feeling I'm going to put this video up and we're going to hear about Musaba or Vasquez or someone, because there's two players. There's Vasquez and Musaba who are apparently close. Musaba's apparently on his way for a medical, who's a winger, who I'll talk about, obviously, if we get more of a confirmation on that. And then Vasquez as well, who we've spoken about previously on the podcast. He's the AC Milan goalkeeper, so looking out to play from the back. There's rumours that might be a permanent as well, and not just a loan or a loan with an option. So exciting things on that front. We've gone from thinking Sheffield Wednesday are going to bring no one in to bringing all of Chisco's style of signings in. They've all got that Spanish link. I didn't even realise the Diaby Spanish link there. They've all seemed to have that Spanish link so far. So I know Milan's not a Spanish link, by the way. However, I'm talking about his play style there. Every player we have signed so far, I think, under Chisco, has had something to do with Spain, apart from Deschamps Bernard. I don't know, I might be talking out my arse there, but I feel like Spain and Spain flags are everywhere at the minute. It seems to be that's what is in the air, and that seems to be the vibe at the minute. But yes, Diaby has just put a very heartfelt message to all the Preston fans out there. Seems that it's all amicable there, all his fans from Preston wishing him well. So I'd be interested to know, Preston fans, what sort of player have we got on our hands here? Do you think he will do well for us? That'd be interesting to have your perspective on that. And of course, we now await, as I'm seeing on Twitter, will he get that number 5? Will it be will it indeed be Bambo number 5? We will find out. Let me know what you think on these signings, because I've not spoke to you about Bernard, or obviously the brand new signing in Diaby there. Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. But for now, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all those things, and keep watching right here on Dexterity Box.